All right, so that is a new segment called Cooling with Alton. And right now, y'all gonna be cooling with Alton right now. You know what I'm saying? And for people who don't understand what cooning is, that is what, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you who are who watch my stuff understand what being a coon is, right? So it's basically what they call a black person who goes outside of the what do you call it, the monolithic think of the black community. If you don't think a certain way, if you don't fall in line with quote unquote black thought, then you're considered a coon. And that's actually what we're gonna do today. All right, so I saw this TikTok
All
and I
around
wanted
me.
to cover this last week. And once again I got too busy, couldn't do it. But we're gonna cover it tonight. Let's listen to this. Fair use. Here we go.
Country, this image is used as a depiction to explain equality and equity. But here's the flawed logic of equity. The tall gentleman has to give up his crate so that the short person can stand on the crate. Here's a better idea. Instead of watching the game for free from the fence, how about purchasing a ticket to get in the game and sit in the bleachers along with the rest of the crowd? The Office of Equity started in 2013, and this year marks the 10-year anniversary of this pet project. Since 2014, $8.7 million and counting has been spent on race baiting, race hustling, reducing standards, CRT, grooming, and normalizing transgenderism instead of appropriately labeling it as gender dysphoria. And where are the measurable outcomes from the Equity Office? This is what we do know. Nearly 50% of our graduating class in 2021 failed math and reading standards, while we tout that we have a 91% graduation rate. All students have a 6 out of 10 chance to pass state exams in grades 3 through 8. Black students have a 4 out of 10 chance to pass all state exams in grades 3 through 8. This is the hard truth that no one will tell you. Equity will not fix the dire marriage rate in the black community. 80% of black homes are led by a single parent, and statistics show that this has a negative impact on children mentally, socially, and academically. Going woke won't bring daddy home. The answer is not diversity, equity, and inclusion. The answer is faith, family, morality, and education void of special interests. Equity is the transmission of a disease called communism. Equity lowers the bar, overlooks merit, and puts the focus on skin tone only. Equity is legalized theft because it takes from the productive person and gives to the unproductive person. In the early 2000s, there was a 2 to 3 year wait list to be a Wake County teacher. Today, we're approximately 400 teachers short. The general feedback that I hear from teachers is that the focus is on equity, 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 more equity, and more equity. Instead of focusing on the equity, the teachers don't have the ability to even discipline the students and correct their violent behaviors. I believe that we need to take the money from the equity office and put it towards repairing West Cary.
Yeah, I think that is in West Gary, Indianapolis, Indiana. But I love what this guy said. I love what that pastor said, man. And I love that hoodie that he had on too. It was like God over government. And I think that us as Christians, especially when it comes to the government, we have to be careful about pledging our allegiance to the government and pledging our allegiance to the country. Now, I don't mean that you can't be a patriot or you can't love your country or you can't, hope that the government will kind of change its course and really start doing things that are pleasing to God. Not saying that you can't do that stuff, but we got to be real. We got to be real when it comes to the government and when it comes to us as Christians, especially us as black Christians, but just Christians in general, let's just put it like that. We have to be able to look at things from a biblical perspective, because remember, the Bible is our foundation. It's our foundation for morality. It's our foundation for choices that we make, all of that type of stuff. So we don't have to worry about what the government is doing or what they're trying to do, and worrying about if we're trying to vote the right person in office, because I believe that God is sovereign, and I'm not going to get on the whole, if I think that somebody should vote or not. I'll let the individual decide that. But what I am saying is that if you're a Christian, then you need to be 100% pro-Christ and 100% pro-Bible. Now, when we're talking about equity, we're talking about inclusion and diversity, I want to know something. Do you guys believe that the Bible teaches equity and inclusion? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Type 1 if y'all think that the Bible teaches this whole ideology of equity and inclusion. Because I'm going to tell you like this. I'm starting to see a lot of Christians fall into these kind of liberal talking points. They got these liberal talking points going on to where they want to tout ideologies such as equity, diversity, and inclusion, and all of these different types of things. Me personally, when it comes to equity, when it comes to inclusion, these are not things that you have to force upon someone, or it's not something that you have to kind of mandate. These are things that happen naturally, especially for us as Christians. That's why, a lot of people, they get upset with me, and because I don't have this whole monolithic thinking, the first thing that they run to is that, well, you probably go to church with a bunch of white people and your wife is probably white. That's the first thing that they run to, because I don't agree with what they're saying. I don't fall into these liberal talking points of equity and inclusion, because according to liberals, equity means that, just like the illustration that the guy pointed out, you had let me see if I can back that up. Let me see if I can back up his illustration and put that on the screen right now. Because this is what liberalism is teaching what equity is, right? Under equality, everybody has a box. Some people are shorter than others. So therefore, some people can't see the ball game, right? But then you also have equity, which is here on the right side. Now, the guy who's the tallest, who can see over the fence without the box, needs to relinquish his box to one of these kids. Well, especially the kid over here, who's like the shortest, and he can't, who could barely see over the fence, who couldn't see over the fence, although he had one box. So now he had to give up his box. Therefore, so the shorter kid, the less privileged kid, can see the ball game. But at the same time, I think the greatest point that the man made in this particular illustration is that that's what equity. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna have to put on my black power hat.
And I'm black.
I'm gonna have to put the hat on.
Black and I'm black, y'all.
I hate to put it on, but I gotta put it on. Now, what the guy was saying in this illustration was that when we go back to this illustration and we see that these people are trying to look at the baseball game behind the fence, his point was, well, why not give them a ticket so therefore they can all see the game equally? Why not purchase them a ticket so they can all be inside of the game? So why sit back, number one, not give them a ticket, follow me because I'm going somewhere with this, but have the man with the box who don't have a ticket, who's trying to see the game as well, to give it up to the kid all the way to the end who can't see the game because he didn't have a box like the tallest guy. Why not give all of them a ticket so they can go ahead and watch the game? That's how I feel about reparations. Reparations is about, well, why don't we take from this particular group of people here and then give it to those who are less fortunate? But the folks who are talking all of this jive, I'm going to take it back to the 70s on y'all, who's talking all of this jive about reparations, diversity, inclusion. Why don't y'all put up a shut up? Put that money up. If y'all think that we need reparations and there's just all of these disenfranchised people, don't go on TED Talks and podcasts and make YouTube videos and TikTok videos talking about what some other group of white people need to do, and you're a white person and you're doing and you basically fit into that category. You want these white people over here to give up money out of their pockets, bypass you, and then give it to black people. But you are not doing anything yourself to change the trajectory of black people and the discussions of reparations. It's like don't tell me about equity and equality and inclusion and diversity when you're not willing to follow that ideology yourself. I told you, man, this is going to be that. I told you, this is the segment. It's called Cooning with Alton right now.